Dying Light was first released in 2015, developed by Techland and published by Warner Brothers. Since then, it's received extensive DLC support, a sequel, and with the release of the definitive edition, we have the complete package for the first game. With Dying Light the Beast releasing last week, it's probably a good time to look back on the first game in the franchise and see how it holds up, in case you are a newcomer who's looking to get into it, or a long-time fan who's feeling like blasting through the whole franchise again. I'm one of those people. Dying Light is a first-person survival action adventure with the core gameplay focus on traversal via parkour, from when parkour was the coolest thing in the world, or from about 3 or 4 years after parkour was the coolest thing in the world, when game developers saw it was the coolest thing and then took 4 years to make their games. And it also has some pretty crunchy and fun first-person melee combat. There's some shooting as well, but it's all about the melee. In Dying Light, you play as Kyle Crane. I'm smiling at the genericness of the action hero name there. He is a GRE agent who's sent into the city of Haran, a fictional city which has been consumed by a viral zombie outbreak. Your mission, or Crane's mission, depending on how invested in this thing you are, is to recover critical documents. But after barely surviving his very first encounter, he gets bitten by a zombie, and he's forced to rely on suppressant medication to avoid turning. He works with the local survivors, and he's pretty torn between, completing his mission to find these documents and aiding others, and just simply kind of avoiding being eaten to death. The story is serviceable, but far from groundbreaking. There are some really good performances, including Roger Craig Smith as Crane, which really helps to elevate it, but the narrative pacing can falter a little, particularly at the climax, which infamously ends with a quick time event rather than giving you a proper final battle. The following DLC, which is of course included in this package of the Ultimate Edition, does improve on it, which gives you multiple extra endings and a proper final boss fight. So overall, the story gives enough momentum to carry the experience, but it's not the main reason that you're coming here to play. The main reason is, as mentioned, Dying Light is a survival first-person combat adventure. The combat in Dying Light is primarily melee focused. Early weapons you get are very, very crude. It's pipes and bats and machetes, but you get stronger gear, leveling up through quests and events and finding more stuff. Weapons degrade over time and can only be repaired a set number of times, which forces players to be just constantly scavenging for more stuff. And you can make some really genuinely cool weapons. You can add fire and electric, and the way that you can get weapons to interact with environmental hazards and things around the zombies is very, very fun. Eventually, firearms do become available, but they're very well balanced. Using a gun attracts zombies, and that's not a great idea. So they are really, really powerful and can be useful, but it's just not as fun as just running in with a cricket bat. You can craft silencers, you can get bows, which give you some quieter alternatives, and combat feels really impactful. You get incredibly strong visual feedback when you're fighting enemies as they get weakened and potentially dismembered. Traversal and parkour are the heart of Dying Light as a game. Aran's world is designed around verticality, which allows players to climb and vault and leap like a majestic gazelle across the rooftops. Movement feels really fluid and natural and rewards momentum and situational awareness. As you level Kyle up, mobility expands even further, most notably with a sick grappling hook, which allows for rapid escapes and creative approaches to exploration. Parkour isn't just for getting around, it's a survival tool, especially when you are facing overwhelming numbers of enemies and when you get into the day-night cycle. Alongside parkour, the day-night cycle is one of the game's defining systems, which you might have figured out given the name of the game. By day, Haran is dangerous, but it's manageable. During the day, players can go out and scavenge and craft and explore with relative freedom. You might get some more powerful zombies occasionally, but it's pretty rare. At night, the tone shifts dramatically. Volatiles, which are super zombies, they're super zombies, prowl around the streets and your visibility is massively reduced. Survival until right in the late game becomes way less about confrontation and far more about evasion. You are out in the dark exploring and you get spotted and they call in all their mates and you get a GTA pursuit bar, but it's not cops, it's monsters. So why on earth would you go out at night in Haran? Well, the rewards at nighttime are better. Doing missions at night, doing any activity at night in the game gives you increased XP, which gives you a really, really strong incentive to, rather than playing it safe and doing all the missions during the day, to go out in the dark, level up faster. It's really, really smart. The push and pull between safety and reward keeps the tension really high and makes sure that the cycle never feels really cosmetic. It fundamentally will shape how you relate to the world and the way you play the game. There's good news as well if you are a gamer with friends. What's that like? The game supports 4-player co-op, and your progress is shared if players are aligned on quests. And so getting 3 friends in with you into Dying Light is ridiculously fun. It's a really, really good time. And, you know, it can make exploration a little bit easier. You're at a little bit less risk from the normal zombies, but you've got friends, so maybe you go and try something a bit more difficult as well. However, the standout mode of Dying Light, for my money, is the asymmetrical Be the Zombie mode, which is an invasion mode where if you sign up for it, you will become one of the super zombies and you will go into other players' games and start hunting them down. The survivors in there have to destroy nests while avoiding getting caught, and the evader uses unique abilities and progression upgrades for those abilities as you continue playing to hunt them down. It really adds a fantastic competitive edge, and it can really add some longevity to the game, but you can absolutely turn that option off because a lot of the people out there who play as the super zombie are extremely good at it. World and level design. The 2 main maps, the slums and Old Town, are really nice and distinct in design. The slums have far more emphasis on wide, low-rise areas, which are good for beginners, funnily enough. It's where the game starts. Old Town has much taller buildings, much tighter streets that challenge your parkour skills and your ability to fight through hordes of zombies in enclosed spaces. Both maps are filled up with dynamic encounters and side quests, quarantine zones, which act as instanced. That's not a fun word to say. And quarantine zones, which act as instanced high-risk, high-reward missions. Exploration in the world is consistently engaging with environmental storytelling and emergent events that make sure Haran really rarely ever feels like a static place. Visually, Dying Light has aged really well. The environments are detailed and atmospheric, with cluttered interiors and environmental storytelling that highlight the collapse of this society. Animations contribute to immersion, from degrading weapons to visibly weakening enemies. It's pretty grody, it's great. The sound design also does a really good job and carries a lot of the weight, particularly in the nighttime sequence. Ambient noises like, you know, distant screams or creaking buildings as you're climbing up really give a good sense of unease. And the nighttime audio cues, the growls and the stomping as the volatiles, the super zombies are wandering around, are flippin' dreadful and intense. It's really great. The soundtrack also nicely complements the action, and you get good between the bleak ambient exploration music and the more energetic combat tracks. The game's got multiple difficulty options, New Game Plus, and a Legend level system which extends the game's longevity, alongside multiplayer and invasions and all of that progression beyond the main campaign. The Definitive Edition also obviously includes all of the DLC, which adds even more to do. You've got Cuisine and Cargo, which adds new quarantine zones within the world. The Bozak Horde, which is a gauntlet-style challenge mode, which is great fun. Hell Raid, a dungeon crawling mode with new weapons and with new weapons and enemies. And The Following, which was a huge expansion with a new, very large map with drivable buggies and bounties and even alternate endings to the game. So much of the traversal switches from parkour to driving, but the mechanics are really good, and there are a bunch of extra challenges and missions that you can do with the buggies. They did a fantastic job on it. So altogether, these additions ensure that the Definitive Edition offers substantial content beyond the base game. Dying Light Definitive Edition remains one of the most distinctive zombie survival games to be found anywhere, thanks to its fluid parkour, tense combat, and immersive and fantastic day-night cycle. While the story is serviceable rather than memorable, the game's mechanics, atmosphere, and extensive content made it a standout experience at the time, and it still is years after release. For new players, the Definitive Edition is obviously the most complete way to experience the game, and if you are even considering it, go and give it a go. And for returning players, it's just going to be a damn good time all over again. So, Dying Light, the Definitive Edition, gets from us 7 out of 10. Pros: engaging combat and exploration, decent horizontal progression throughout the game, and it really is hard to run out of things to do. But massive con, the story is really average. Thank you for joining us here on the Game Tips YouTube channel for another review. If you are enjoying what we're doing over here with the YouTube channel and you want to support us in doing even more of it, then please tell people to stop asking me to do other stuff. So stupid. If you are enjoying what we're doing over here on the GameTips.gg YouTube channel, then it would be a huge help for us if you could give us a little subscribe or a like or a little comment and let us know what you think of the videos. Once again, this review was adapted by a written review by Gary Carver. If you would like to see his full written review, his other reviews, if you would like to see all of our other reviews and game guides and news pieces and everything else, then come on over and see us on GameTips.gg.